Hello! We're finishing 1 year with this, the 2023 Tesla Model Y Performance. We bought it used from Tesla almost exactly a year ago, September 2024, and it's now October 2025. We bought this knowing full well that Tesla was going to release a refresh model, which they did a few months later, the Juniper. And so we thought, instead of taking the big depreciation hit on buying a brand new 2024, 2025 model, why don't we buy a used one that's already taken some depreciation with preferably not a lot of miles and run it for a year or so and see how it goes. So that's how we got this. So back then, the Model Y Performance was somewhere around $55,000, $56,000 in this spec. It's white with the white interior, nice and bright. But we picked this one up with about 17,000 miles on it for just under $40,000. So in this video, we're going to take you through what that last year has been like, and what's been good, what's been bad, how many miles we put on it, and what's next for this vehicle, and how much we got for it at the end of that year. So stay tuned and consider liking and subscribing to catch more of our content. So 1 year with this 2023 Tesla Model Y Performance. So why did we get the 2023 model? Well, a couple of things. The Model Y, as you probably know, came to market in spring of 2020, which was the dark COVID masked era. And we didn't want to get a 2020 or 2021 model. Those had pretty hard riding suspensions. Interior fitment and quality was it's kind of known as Tesla legendary, not so great. And those also came with the Intel Atom processor running the infotainment system, which, to be honest, is a little slow. So didn't really want to go with that. And as Tesla does, they make changes as you go over time. And what they ended up doing is they added a comfort suspension option in 2023, which really changed the ride dynamics and ride feel of all of the Model Ys, but in particular this performance model, which I gotta tell you, I've driven in a couple of the earlier performance models. It's basically like having no suspension. You'd be surprised if you could tell there were actually shocks in those early model performances. So I wouldn't recommend those. But in 2023, in late 2023, they introduced the comfort suspension option, which really made this a much more comfortable vehicle to drive and still retain the sporty handling feel. The other thing that came out sometime in 2023 was they introduced the AMD processors. So they got off the Intel Atom chips, so they were a little pokey, to be honest, and switched to the AMD chips, the AMD Ryzens, which are still in the vehicles today, as I understand it, here in late 2025. So that's a much more higher performance chip. And what that means in terms of user experiences, the whole infotainment system, the main screen is very smooth. All the motions are very smooth. It's been updated quite a few times via over-the-air software updates. It's now got the 3D animations, which we'll kind of lay in here into the video for the vehicle inside, that gives you access to all the controls. And it's just a much more usable user experience. You can kind of flip between navigation, the music, and everything else you've got going on without any lags or delay. In fact, it's very smooth and very similar to other vehicles we've got, including this Foundation Series Cybertruck. So that's how good the infotainment screen and the digital user experience is here. The other thing that's been great is the phone is a key, and the whole app experience has been completely flawless. So that's why we started out looking specifically for the 2023 models, and we were lucky enough to find this one relatively close by, so we didn't have to pay a shipping fee with, as I mentioned, just about 17,000 miles on it. If you've ever considered purchasing a used Tesla, what I will say is the first time you do it, it's pretty anxiety-provoking. Most of their vehicle listings, they don't actually show you pictures. On a few of the Model S's and Model X's now, they sometimes do, but for most of the 3s and Ys, you're not going to find pictures online. You're just going to get renderings. But this one ended up being in great condition. It's a little dirty, so I apologize for that, but I'll take you through it. A couple of the major wear points you'd expect are here in the rim. Normally you'd expect to see a lot of curbing marks, and even though these tires have the little rubber nubs here, you can kind of see sticking out this rubber ridge to help prevent curbing. the rims are pretty much flush with the tire. It's actually a pretty bad design that way. Sure, it's great for aerodynamics, but it's terrible for getting these rims curved. We got these plastic rim protectors, but I will say, at the time we purchased it, and we inspected it pretty closely, all four of those rims look factory fresh, like they were brand new. Wheels, tires also look factory fresh, even though they're not. These are dated 2022, week 6 of 22. So these are about halfway through their life, about 3 years old. But they're plenty of tread, even wear, we're in great shape. And so the wheels were perfect. The body also kind of straight and true, no evidence of accidents or any body work or paint work on this car. So when we got it, it looked like a new car, just not at a new car price. And that's what I like about Tesla. At least our local service center made sure that they did a nice job with the reconditioning, and the prior owner who put the first 17,000 miles on it really took care of the vehicle. There weren't many rock chips. A lot of times one things to look for, particularly on these Model 3s and Ys and the S's, you can find rock chips here, and places to look is here along the hood, as well as this kind of flat front section. No real rock chips or evidence of touch-ups either. So that was all really nice to see. The light lenses were clean and clear. As for the fogs, it's a little bit of almost like mold or dirt accumulating under here. It's a tricky spot to clean. But even the lower part of the front spoiler here was also nice and fresh and clean. No evidence of scrapes or anything like that. So picking up this vehicle, like I said, is a little anxiety provoking because it was a used car with 17,000 miles. But it honestly could not have looked better. The one evidence of paint touch-up I did find, which you'll see here, is on the back of this driver's side mirror. I'm not really sure what this is. It's kind of sticky. I suspect this was a touch-up. If I wanted to, I could just throw some touch-up paint on top of that. But not really a big deal considering how much we saved on it. So definitely recommend a Tesla used vehicle if you're in the market for one. You can see even here all the body panels and seams are tight. They're not perfect. They never quite are in these cars. You can see here there's a little bit of a ridge here, and the gap's slightly inconsistent. But I gotta tell you, on most new cars, it's not perfect. Put a rear hatch alignment here also isn't completely perfect. You can see it's ever so slightly off, but it doesn't make an impact on wind noise, or there's no water ingress into the vehicle at all. Door seals and fitment are also pretty tight. This was another spot that doesn't always align perfectly. In fact, I've never seen this align perfectly on any Model Y. So that's there. And the other thing to watch for is this black trim can wear. I don't know if it's oxidation or what. You're starting to see the beginnings of that here. So as these cars kind of sit out in the sun, this black trim does start to fade a little bit and pick up a little bit of a shiny texture and kind of lose that matte finish. You can probably throw some different types of detailing products on there to get that cleaned up. But outside of that minor issue of the trim that's only just started to appear, it's really otherwise been fine. We did add a few accessories. So I mentioned the wheel protectors. We added these splash guards or mud guards to the front and rear on all four corners. Those are from Spigen, not a channel sponsor. Added a few things to the inside, and particularly we've got these 3W liner floor mats, and these I really like because these are both carpeted mats as well as rubber mats. So you've got the rubber mats in there, and you've got these carpeted mats snap in. I actually like the comfort of these carpeted mats on your heel if you're driving long distances. It certainly makes it quite a bit more comfortable. Make sure we don't get a copyright notice there. But it certainly makes for a much more comfortable ride. And you can even see here in the footwell or even the seats, all of these look pretty much factory fresh. There's no real significant wear on the bolster. It's a little bit of an indentation here you can see, and this is primarily from kind of the belt rubbing into here. But Other than that, I mean, needs a little cleaning, but outside of that, looks very much like a new vehicle. And so I'd say even the steering wheel and everything else, white trim, door cards, everything else looks really nice. Window switches. So they did a nice job cleaning this up, even the door sills and all. We added some puddle light projectors underneath from here. You can't really see it in the daylight, but they do project the word Tesla down here at night. But this is a nice, clean, well put together vehicle. Looking inside at the infotainment on this 2023 Tesla Model Y Performance, you can see, because we do have the kind of higher speed processor here, the AMD chip, we've got the 3D rendering that you'll find in all the newest models. We've got all your standard controls, and it's worked out quite well. We've put on, I want to say, a little over 4,000 miles in the last year. Let's see here. Yeah, 4,722 miles using a little over 1,400 kilowatt hours for an average for us of about 13 months of 300 watt hours per mile, which is certainly better than the Cybertruck. You can do better than this on long distance trips, but that includes a fair amount of preconditioning. And it is the performance model, and I will say it has had its performance exercised a few times over. So this is turned out to be a nice car. Wireless chargers, like with most Teslas, are okay. The ones in the Model S and X actually have a vent here to keep your phone cool while it's charging. This older Model Y does not. I believe the new Model Y actually does have an air vent here to keep phones cool while they're charging. But until they warm up, it actually charges pretty well. Texture here is nice. Kind of the fake leatherette is nice. Excuse the messes in here, but like I said, the vehicle does get used. One accessory we did add here in the back was this screen. It wasn't very expensive. It's probably $150, $170. You can find plenty of them online. It kind of snaps in here and matches the color scheme. What you do lose is some of the vent capacity, because that gets reduced to just this little slit, but you do pick up 2 USB-Cs up here. You get access to climate controls. The biggest thing I find is nobody's really watching videos back here, although you could, is the nicest thing is getting access to your heated seat controls directly in the third row, because otherwise your third row occupants have no access to heated seat controls in these older Model 3s and Model Ys without a screen like this. So these aren't very expensive. If I find the link to the one I purchased, I'll post it in the video description. But this is about a 15-minute install. It's pretty much just popping this out. There's a cover here that snaps out, and then you'll get a wiring harness that you just kind of plug into there. There's also an additional piece of wire that you can run that connects up under this front passenger seat that gives you access to the front passenger seat controls. So you can move this seat forward and back, and then tilt and recline it. I ended up not running that additional piece of wire, mostly because I didn't feel a need to have it. But you can certainly do that, and it gives you equivalent of factory fresh, factory new for 2026 seat controls. But I do like having the heated seats here in the back row for whomever happens to be sitting back here. In terms of space, you know, this Model Y is pretty spacious. I'm 5'10", and I've got the driver's seat sitting where I would be. I've got a couple inches here. I've got the nice seat pockets. I got plenty of leg room. One of the things that's always underrated and you should check, because it doesn't exist in all EVs, is having enough space to stretch your feet here underneath the driver's seat, because it really does give you a lot more flexibility in where to put your legs. I've only got 2 passengers in the back. And having the ability to kind of stretch out in the center with the flat floor is really nice. These in the 2023 model, you also had updated door cards, which not a lot of people talk about. I actually lost a little bit of light here. But what you pick up with those is you get these fabric inserts that are built in The biggest thing about that, and you've got the kind of rubber that sits in here at the bottom. So the combination of the rubber at the bottom and the fabric here means if you've got cans or bottles, or for some reason whiteout, not sure why I got whiteout here, but if you've got cans, bottles, or whiteout sitting in these pockets, they don't rattle around as much because these used to just be hard plastic at the bottom and then on the sides in the earlier model years. By having this fabric here as well as the rubber there, it significantly dampens any noise and vibration you would get from having things in these door pockets. So that's another thing you pick up in the 2023s. You've also got the Alcantara-ish, I don't know if it's actually Alcantara or just some kind of fake microfiber, micro suede inside there in the pocket, inside the door card, but that's nice, as well as the contrast stitching, fake leather, pleather-ish thing. You've also got pretty heavily tinted rear windows, so let's see if I can kind of show you the contrast there in the window tint in the rear. It's pretty substantial, as is the tint in the roof. So it means that even if you don't have a sunshade for this roof, although I would recommend considering a sunshade for the roof. So if you do get a sunshade, I can pop a link to that if you're interested. And I've got a video showing an install there too. But I recommend a snap-in sunshade, not the Tesla mesh ones, but ones that are actually have reflective covers, particularly if you live in a warmer climate. But between the reflective sunshade up here and the heavily tinted windows, it's a pretty nice space in the back. One other thing I should mention about these Model Ys is you do have reclining seats. So the new ones have the power reclining seats, but what they don't tell you is if you're picking up a used one, that you do have these manual reclining seats that kind of only have 2 positions available, with them electronic actuation. Not sure if you'll hear that in the video. But it's a manual tilt into one of the 2 positions. But these seats are quite comfortable. Got a little bit of kind of surface staining here, but that just wipes off with a standard cleaning wipe. But we do like these white seats. It does keep the whole interior brighter and more open feeling, and it's certainly very comfortable for 4 for a long trip, and you can squeeze 5 on a shorter trip, 5 adults, or 3 adults and 2 kids or something like that. But if you're thinking about a used Tesla, I'd highly recommend looking at a used Model Y. And in particular, if you are thinking about a used Model Y, I'd strongly recommend considering a 2023 model and up. I'd say certainly avoid the 2020s and 2021s, even though you can get them much less expensively. But they ride really poorly. The center console's not as nice or as finished. Door cards aren't as nice. And I'd say the whole package of it, with the price differential between picking up a 2021 and 2023, if you can squeeze the difference, and I know not everyone can, but if you can manage it, I'd say you have a much, much better experience in this 2023, and you're probably getting 85 to 90% of the experience that you'll get at 2026. No, you don't have the ventilated seats in the first row, but these seats are still very comfortable. You don't have power second row seats, but as you can see, the recline is very limited, even in the newer ones. The interior space and packaging is pretty much identical. The body, almost identical. No, we don't have a rear light bar in the back that's kind of fancy, but with this performance model, we do have the carbon fiber spoiler. And one of the things people worry about is delamination on these. I haven't seen that becoming an issue, and this car is parked outside year round. So trunk space is pretty excellent in this 2023 Tesla Model Y. You do have your seat releases here to automatically fold down that second row if you want to, so that's convenient. I did get this shade. I think it's a OEM Tesla shade that kind of folds up nice here and helps cover your cargo and makes it effectively invisible. The folding on it's a little funky. You kind of have to push up from the middle in order to get it to roll out and then push back. So it's a little odd that way. And that's the pretty spacious trunk of this Model Y. Front to back, that's at least 4 feet. You got the side pockets here, a little difficult to see with the fading light here in the evening. Textile mat protector, another side pocket there. And as you all know, plenty of underfloor storage. That goes down about 2 feet top to bottom. We do have 3W liners mat down there. So all in all, that's a lot of storage space in this 2023 model. And to answer one question people might have, should I get a used 2023 Plus Tesla Model Y or the brand new Model Y Juniper standard range or standard models? I think definitely go with the 23, 24, or 25. They're now the premium models, but go with one of these used ones instead. Prices should be better. And you don't get the front bumper camera because it didn't exist, but you do get the door pockets with the carpeting, get the extra sound deadening, the insulated glass, the panoramic sunroof. In this case, you've got the performance model, so you've also got the extra performance 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, whereas the new ones are 3.3 seconds. Honestly, if you can tell the difference, you're a far more astute driver than I am. You also get the very nice large rims in black with all the black accents here. The other things you get are certainly the front heated seats, which are also in the new standard model, but you also get the 3-position heated seats in the rear, which are not in the new standard model. You got the reclining seats. And in general, I think this is still a better platform than the new standard range. So if you're thinking 23 to 25 used Model Y or brand new 2026 Plus new Model Y standard, go with one of these.